Welcome to Formula Offroad. For the next 4 months we will be bringing you the Icelandic National Championships starting tonight with the first round. This race was held at Hella, which is a small town about 100 kilometers from the capital city, Reykjavik. The 2015 Formula Offroad season marked the 50th anniversary of this completely unique Icelandic sport. Formula Offroad came to be when a couple of Icelanders thought it would be a good idea to race against each other up a mountainside in their jeeps. The sport quickly evolved, and in the beginning of the 1990s the jeeps had over 300 horsepower and paddle tires. As the power and speed went higher, so did the safety regulations. So the cars were fitted with roll cages and the drivers had to wear helmets, racing harness and fire suit. In the early 90s, the cars looked like this. They were constructed by fitting a roll cage to an old chassis and running gear, and the body was made of sheet metal. But by the beginning of the 20th century, the cars had up to 800 horsepower and a space-frame chassis. Each race consists of 6 courses, and each course usually ends with a big cliff. If a driver makes it all the way to the top, he is rewarded with 350 points, and the driver with the most points after the 6 courses is the winner. If a driver misses a gate or touches marker, he will get penalty points. A driver can get up to 100 penalty points in a single gate and gets 40 penalty points for reversing. There are 3 classifications in Formula Offroad. There is Unlimited class, Modified class and Street Legal class. And we're going to be showing you how they got on. Here we have the 4th place finisher, Haukur Birgisson, driving his Willys Jeep in his first Formula Offroad event, and he likes to call his Jeep Feitingur. In 3rd place, just 15 points ahead of Haukur, was Edvald Guðmundsson, who also drives an old Willys Jeep. He calls it the Bachelor. He had some trouble in the beginning of the race, where he had to drive without power steering, but never gave up the challenge for the lead. In 2nd place with 1465 points was Steingrímur Bjarnason in his car the Smurf. He was a long way ahead of the chasing pack, mainly because of some great driving through water. The winner in Street Legal class, some 318 points ahead of Steingrímur, was Ívar Guðmundsson, who drives Kölski. Ívar is the defending champion in this class and showed it with some great controlled and calculated driving. And now we move on to the other classes. Here we have the last year's champion.
Snorri, það var brautaskoðun hérna í morgun. Hvernig líst þér á brautirnar?
Þetta flott, þetta ökuleikni, það nú ekki bara börð, en þetta verður eitthvað.
Hvað mun þurfa til að vinna í dag?
Klára allar brautir.
Þú ert Íslandsmeistari síðan 2 ára. Þú hlýtur að stefna á Íslandsmeistaratitil í sumar.
Jú, maður verður að segja það allavega. Svo kemur í ljós hvað maður gerir.
Gangið vel.
Takk.
It's simple, he says. To win you have to finish every track. So let's see how he gets on in the first track of the day. Well, he gets over the first climb without touching any markers. And now for the final gate. Well, that didn't quite work like Snorri planned, so he only gets 240 points. The car actually got so badly damaged that Snorri missed the 2nd track of the day.
Snorri, þú tókst ansi stóra veltu í fyrstu braut og skemmti bílinn.
Já, þetta var smá vesen og tók bara tíma og við náðum ekki braut nummer 2, þannig að nú bara braut nummer 3.
Og hvað það sem að brotnaði sem að tafði ykkur svona mikið?
Það fóru bremsudæla og öxlar sikkur á megin, sikkur á horninu. Hann lendi svo illa.
Þá verður við bara að taka vel á því í braut nummer 3.
Já.
Next up we have Gestur Ingolson in his car, the Dream. But the Dream quickly turned into a nightmare when one of the spark plugs got loose, so Gestur only gets 50 points out of the potential 350. Next up, Magnús Sigurðsson. He drives the only non-V8 powered car in this race. His car, the Cube, has 2.4 litre Honda engine with a huge turbo. Magnus drives this course rather well and managed it without any penalties as he goes over the first climb. But after seeing what happened to Snorri, he doesn't really try to go all the way and settles for 200 points. This is Thor Þormar Pálsson in his car Spider-Man. As you can see, he had some engine problems in the first track of the day, and sadly throughout the entire event. Here he is in the fourth track of the day, when the same thing happens, and he finished the day with a total of 340 points. Next up is Haukur Einarsson. He also had some engine problems in the first track. And here he is in the second, when he breaks the front differential, ending the day with only 315 points. This is Elmar Guðmundsson on the first horse. As you can see, the Icelanders give their cars quite strange names, and Elmar's is no different. He drives the farmer's daughter. But he picks up 20 minus points for driving over that marker, but then floors the car for the final gate. Well done that. This is Ólafur Bragi Jónsson. He was the world champion in Formula Offroad last year, although that was in a different car. This one, the Timur, is not as powerful as last year's car and doesn't have as good tires. But Ólafur is a good driver, and he's surely going to try to go all the way to the top like Elmar. No, that's not the right way up, and Ólafur only gets 220 points. Next is the first modified car of the day, the Animal, and its driver Bjarki Reynisson. The main difference between modified and unlimited cars are the tires. Modified cars don't have as much grip as the others and have to resemble the look of a production car. Bjarki tried to get through the last gate and gets 240 points, but loses 40 points for hitting mark. This is Svanur Tómasson, who drives insane. This is his third season in the sport, and it shows. He's really becoming a good driver. In this course, he didn't want to risk damaging the car as it's still very early in the day. He gets 160 points for this effort. Here we have Guðbjörn Grímsson, and this is what he had to say before the race.
Guðbjörn, þá ertu búinn í brautaskoðun, hvernig líst þér á brautirnar í dag?
Þetta verður mjög gaman. Krefjandi, tæknibrautir, það er svona að byggja svona smá akstustækni og líka sko, þetta er svona fyrir mér eins góð blanda sem það getur orðið, best. Ég er mjög ánægð með Hellumenn og það sem lögðu brautinni hérna. Þetta er til fyrirmyndar.
Well, he may be happy with the courses, but he won't be happy with himself here. This reverse is costing him 40 points. But he completes the first climb rather easily, thanks to his 1600 plus horsepower twin turbo V8, the most powerful engine in the Formula Offroad. Guðbjörn gets 180 points despite the roll, and Katla Turbo Troll lives to tackle another day. Next up is Leo Viðar Björnsson in his car Iron Maiden. Leo has been competing for about 15 years and is one of the most experienced drivers in the field. He drives well, not getting any penalties, but has to accept that the final climb is impassable and gets 220 points for his effort. This is Ingólfur Guðvarðarson. We asked him what it would take to win the race.
Hvað þarf til að vinna hérna í dag?
Ég held að það sé bara góð skynsemi og bara ná góður stefnu. Þá það málið sem kemur.
Gangi vel í dag.
Thank you.
And here he is in his car, Guttin Reborn, tackling the first climb in a rather spectacular way. At this stage, most of the drivers had accepted that the final climb was too steep, but Ingólfur had other ideas. truly amazing driving that resulted in 280 points. This is Jón Wilberg Gunnarsson in the kid. Jón was the national champion in the modified class last year and is out to defend his title. The title defense starts okay, with 220 points here in the first course. Here we have Aron Ingi Svansson in the zombie. He drives in the modified class. After seeing neither Bjarki or Jón Wilberg going up the final climb, Aron settled for 180 points. Here we have the top 5 after the first course. Only 40 points separating the first and second. We are back with course number 2. This is Bjarki Reynisson driving the animal. In this course, the drivers had to come down a slope, make a tricky left turn and go up the cliff face. Bjarki does this really well and gets 330 points.
Sjáið þið strákinn! Þvílíkur ökumaður!
Jón Wilberg Gunnarsson went all the way and got 320 points, as did Aron Ingi Svansson in the battle for the modified class trophy.
Sjáið þið Aron Inga! Gefur hann gott það, dekkur, reynt!
Magnús Sigurðsson in his Honda-powered Cube had been driving well, but had to reverse and took down 2 markers, giving him 80 penalty points, resulting in only 270 points. This is what he had to say after the 2 courses.
Magnús, þú lendir í smá vesenni fyrir keppni. Hvað var að?
Það brett úr sig lega í afturdrifinu, pinjónslega.
Og hvernig hefur annars keppnin gengið núna þegar 2 breytur eru búnar?
Þetta bara mjög vel, alltaf virka vel. Við náðum ekki að stilla nitrói, þannig ég keyri bara gaslaus núna. En það virðist vera, það gott grip og nógu tími til að... Þannig að þetta virðist virka vel.
Og alveg nægilega mikið afl þrátt fyrir ekkert nitró?
Já, nitró bara til að hoppa upp á snúning, sko. Þannig að það hefur ekkert, aflið bara búið til með túrbínunni, sko.
Gangið vel?
Já, takk fyrir.
Gestur Ingólfsson in the dream. His nightmare from the first course continued in the second.
Vippa sér þarna vinstra framhjóli.
Gestur only got 230 points on a lift with a tractor. Ingólfur in Guttin Reborn goes the wrong way through that gate. The red markers are supposed to be on the driver's right hand side. He gets only 50 points for this course. The current leader, Elmar Jón, in the Farmer's Daughter, continues his good performance and goes all the way to the top with only 30 penalty points and holds on to the lead.
Þetta gengur vel, fyrstu 2 breytur búnar.
Þá gengur þetta vel en það lönglega eftir.
Hvað, þú ert sennilega í fyrsta seti, þú hlýtur að stefna á að halda því það sem eftir að degi?
Það sjálfsögðu seti var alltaf á sigur, sko. Það ósnemmt að fara að spá í það, maður bara tekur hverja braut fyrir sig í eina braut í einu og gerist sitt besta. Meira getur maður ekki.
3. brautin næst, hvernig líst þér á hana? Hendar hún þér betur en einhverjum öðrum?
Hún hendar mér ágætlega, ég er fyrstur í hana og ég held að það sé 15 ára fram að leiðinni. Þannig að sjálfsögðu þarf maður bara upp hana líka.
As Elmar said, he will be the first to tackle course number 3. This course is very technical, more so than the first 2 courses, which relied more on car's horsepower and grip. Elmar drives through the course very well and is careful not to knock any of the markers down or having to reverse. Now he has to turn back up the slope, which can be difficult in these cars. Elmar does this brilliantly, using all of the 800 horsepower and finishes the course with 350 points and no penalties. Great driving. This course didn't turn out to be much of a challenge for the competitors. Everyone got through, although some drivers got penalties for driving over markers. Svanur Örn Tómasson driving his car insane in this easy 3rd course He was quite pleased with how his race had panned out.
Jæja, 3 þrautir búnar. Hvernig hefur þetta gengið í dag?
Herðu, bara framar honum. Ekkert verið að bila neitt og ekkert vesen. Fór hann að einn öxull eða bara lega hjá okkur. Við vorum að skipta hana, þess vegna var ég svolítið seinni í síðustu brautina, eða þriðju brautina. Það gengur bara ágætlega.
Og þú fer bara með fullri hörku í síðustu 3 brautina?
Það er tímabrautin næst og ég er fyrstur í hana, þannig að ég ætla bara að taka hana með trompi, sína hvernig á að gera þetta.
Gangið vel.
Takk fyrir.
As Svanur mentioned, he is the first to tackle the time course. A time course is yet another aspect of this amazing sport. As the title suggests, it's a course which is run against the clock, so it gives the drivers a great opportunity to unleash all the horsepower this machine can give, and it can be a bit of a handful, as the differentials are completely locked front to back and side to side. Despite this optimism, Svanur only managed to get 229 points from this course. Magnús Sigurðsson in his cube manages to set the 3rd best time, giving him 278 points. The 2nd best time was set by Snorri Þór Árnason in the Choir Boy, but he had to sacrifice most of his bodywork to achieve it. Now here comes the race leader, Elmar Jón Guðmundsson, and take a look at that amazing driving from Elmar. Knowing how difficult it is to do a U-turn in these cars, he didn't bother. As he completed the rest of the time course in a similar style, it is no surprise to see him at the top of the timesheets, and extending his lead to 204 points over the 2nd placed Bjarki Reynisson. So here is the confirmation of Elmar's lead as we enter the final 2 courses. It is interesting to see how well the modified cars are doing despite not having the same grip as the unlimited cars. Now it is time for what makes this event so special: the river and the swamp. First to tackle the river is last year's champion Snorri Þór in the Choir Boy. This track is also run as time course like the previous one, and Snorri is doing his absolute best to try and claw back the points that he lost missing course number 2. Some say that Jesus could walk on water. Well, the Icelanders, they drive on it. Although Snorri doesn't manage to aquaplane all the way, he still got 150 points and 10 penalty points. Now there are some cars that like the water and some that don't, and it's clear that Guttin Reborn doesn't like it. Ingólfur Guðvarðarson didn't finish this course, so he only gets 100 points. Magnús Sigurðsson in the cube has to have a good run here if he is to stay in the top 5. The 2.4 litre Honda engine is well protected from the water, so even though the cube doesn't aquaplane all the way, Magnús still finishes the course with 183 points. Ólafur Bragi Jónsson, world champion in his teamer, did not have a good day at all. He had to skip the 2nd track due to severe damage from the first one, and after that the champ never seemed to get a break. But wait, what's going on? It looks like the farmer's daughter doesn't like water. Elmar Jón only gets 25 points, losing his lead to this man. A truly awesome run from Bjarki, showing the world how it's done. Now, let's get muddy. First to tackle the mud is Jón Wilberg Gunnarsson in the Kid. Although this car has about 600 horsepower, that doesn't seem to be enough, and the swamp claims its first victim. Next up, Leo Viðar Björnsson in Iron Maiden. Leo has driven this course many times for the last 15 years, so he won't be happy about that. Only 25 points. Now, let's see if Bjarki Reynisson can show some of the magic he had over the river. Yes, very good. Bjarki carries enough speed through the really muddy part. But in all the excitement, he can't see where he's going and misses a gate and only gets 25 points. The final car to tackle the final course is Farmer's Daughter with Elmar Jón at the wheel, and after Bjarki's trouble he could easily reclaim the top spot he lost in the previous track. But despite these huge wings he has put on the car, just like Bjarki, he can't see where he's going, misses a gate and has to settle with 40 points. As we can see here, he is trying to wipe the mud off his visor, but to no avail. Luckily this didn't stop him from finishing the course, and he received a well-earned round of applause from the 2,000 spectators at Hella. So, a confirmation of the final result. Bjarki wins this first round of the Icelandic Formula Offroad Championship, with Elmar coming in second, but winning the Unlimited class. And unexpectedly, we see Snorri Thor there in third place, despite missing the second course. Great drive from the defending champion. This is all we have time for tonight. Make sure you don't miss the second round of the Icelandic Formula Offroad.